All right, in this explainer, we are going to build a clear, super actionable protocol to make your tendons and ligaments truly unbreakable. So let's just dive right in.
You know what I'm talking about, right? That frustration from a tennis elbow that just won't quit, a nagging rotator cuff, or really any joint pain that derails your training and just your life in general. These things, they often creep up on you, but they all point back to the same root problem.
This quote right here, it just nails it. Think about it. Your tendons and ligaments are like the ropes and cables of your body. It doesn't matter how powerful your engine, your muscles, is, if those cables are all frayed and weak. So let's focus on making them stronger.
Okay, first up, we need to understand what we're dealing with. Let's explore your body's weakest link and really get into why these specific tissues are so prone to injury and why they seem to take forever to heal.
Okay, so the difference here is pretty simple, but it's super important to get. Tendons, they connect your muscles to your bones. They're what transmit the force that lets you actually move. Ligaments, on the other hand, connect bone to bone, and their job is all about providing stability. Now, they have different jobs, but they share a really fundamental vulnerability.
And this is the real kicker. It's the core of the problem. Your muscles, they get flooded with blood, with oxygen, with nutrients. That's why they can recover pretty quickly. But your connective tissues, man, they get hardly any blood supply at all. And that is why they heal so agonizingly slowly. And it's why our strategy has to be incredibly smart about getting them what they need.
So if we're going to build something strong, we have to know what it's made of, right? We need the blueprint. Let's take a look at what actually goes into our connective tissue.
I mean, just look at this chart. It's kind of wild how one single protein is just so dominant. About 75%, 3/4 of the dry weight of your tendons is pure collagen. This is that strong, rope-like protein that gives them structure and the ability to handle all that force. It is the #1 building block we need to focus on.
Now, to actually build that collagen, your body needs some very specific amino acids. We're talking glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. And here's the catch, the critical part. You don't find these in high amounts in your typical muscle meat, like a chicken breast. So that means even if you're eating a super high-protein diet, you could still be starving your tendons of the exact materials they need most.
But look, just having the bricks isn't enough, you know? You need the mortar and the construction workers to put it all together. Vitamin C is like the cement. It's absolutely essential for binding those collagen fibers together. Without it, you're just building weak, fragile tissue. And then minerals like copper and manganese, they're like the glue that activates the enzymes to stabilize the whole structure.
Okay, so how do we get all these crucial materials into our system? Well, it all starts with your diet. Supplements can definitely help, and we'll get to those. But your food, that is the non-negotiable foundation.
Yeah, this table just lays it all out. Crystal clear. Foods like chicken breast or a whey protein shake, they're fantastic for building muscle, no doubt. But they are low in the specific amino acids your connective tissue is starving for. To get those, you got to turn to those collagen-rich foods, things like bone broth, oxtail, or those slow-cooked cuts of meat with all the cartilage and skin.
And we can't forget about our construction crew, those cofactors. You have to pack your diet with vitamin C from things like fruits and veggies, and you need to get your copper and manganese from foods like nuts, seeds, and leafy greens. Other minerals like zinc and magnesium, they're also huge players here, helping to regulate inflammation and support that entire repair process.
All right, so once you've got that solid dietary foundation, we can bring in the reinforcements, some targeted supplements to really accelerate the process.
This right here is a simple but incredibly powerful stack. First, collagen peptides. They give you the direct building blocks in a form your body can easily absorb. Second, taking just a little bit of vitamin C with that collagen, it totally boosts its effectiveness. And third, sulfur, from supplements like MSM or NAC, is crucial for creating the strong chemical bonds that give your tissue its strength and elasticity.
Now, you've probably seen these two on the shelf a million times, right? Glucosamine and chondroitin. Think of these as more of a long game play. They work slowly, over weeks or even months, but they are fantastic for long-term support. They basically help to cushion your joints and improve tissue hydration, which makes them a really solid choice if you're dealing with chronic issues.
Okay, this is huge. We've delivered all the building materials to the construction site. We have the crew ready to go. But how do we tell them to actually start building? Well, that's where your training comes in. Okay, lean in for this one because, honestly,
This might be the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. You can drink all the bone broth and take all the collagen in the world, but if you don't apply mechanical load, that's physical stress, to your tendons, your body has literally zero reason to use those materials to make them stronger. They just get wasted.
And yeah, the kind of training you do really matters. Isometric holds, where you're just holding a position without moving, they're fantastic for reducing pain. Slow eccentrics, that's the lowering part of a lift, are amazing for remodeling the tissue itself. Heavy strength training increases overall tendon strength and stiffness. And hey, even something as simple as jumping rope is proven to boost collagen synthesis.
And finally, you've got to back all this up with your lifestyle. Most of the actual repair to your tendons happens while you sleep, so making 7 to 9 hours a priority is completely non-negotiable. And keeping chronic inflammation in check through an anti-inflammatory diet is key, because that inflammation will actively weaken your tendons over time.
All right, let's put it all together. Let's wrap this up into one simple, unbreakable protocol. We have the materials, we have the workers, and we have the activation signal. Here's the formula to remember.
When you boil it all down, it really is just this simple 3-step formula. Number 1, give your body the building blocks it needs through a collagen-rich diet and some smart supplements. Number 2, apply the right kind of stress with targeted training to signal for growth and repair. And number 3, allow for that recovery with great sleep and an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. That's it. That's the protocol.
So that's the real question, isn't it? What's the first block you're going to lay down to build stronger joints? Are you going to start adding bone broth to your diet? Maybe start taking collagen before your workout? Or are you finally going to prioritize getting quality sleep? Whatever you choose, the first step you take today is what begins building your unbreakable joints for tomorrow.